I have been thinking more and more about this cereal thing. And I don't mean Rice Krispies.
I've actually wrote 3 scenes for this and discarded one to start this thing off. So it's been on my mind as well.
When my patrons finish Trident, I'm going to ask them a couple of questions. And depending on what the answers are, then I may turn the next arc of Soul and Beyond into a serial. And I would publish it on Patreon first. And they would get it a couple of weeks early, once a week or whatever.
I've told my patrons the same thing.
I think I have enough material just in my brain to right now to easily do 6 or 7 months worth of story, probably more than that.
It depends on how often you post it and what length you are.
Yeah, my brain is thinking 3,000 an episode once a week. That may change, of course, but that's what I'm thinking.
I'm covered with cat hair.
Yeah, I see that. But I wanted to get it written first. But, in hindsight, Derelict would have made the perfect serial. It really would have.
You don't have to get it written first. That's the whole point of a serial. You don't have to write it first.
Right, but we're talking about me, Mr. Dryhole. Mr. Dryhole would like to get not the whole book finished, but would like to get far enough ahead to where he says, okay, this is actually where we're going now. As opposed to getting halfway through and going, oh, fuck, I have no idea what everything fell apart.
That's one of the ways that I love my writing style. I pretty much know immediately when I'm going down the wrong path. I ran into that day before yesterday. I just didn't want to write the day before yesterday. And I'm like sitting there going, okay, why don't I want to write? The usual answer is I've taken a wrong turn or I'm about to take a wrong turn. So I looked at where I was in the book and I said, nope, that's what I was going to do. That's not what I need to do. I need to do this other thing instead. And then turned around and wrote 4,000 words that day.
Right. And that's why I throw away chapters. Because usually a chapter won't work the way I want it to. And then when I start going on something else, I'm like, okay, that breaks this and I'd rather have this. So then I got to go back and I got to throw that out and then whatever is associated with it. Right. So yeah, there's always some tinkering.
Let me tell you how I think you should do this with your patrons and the serial as well. It's what I intend on doing. I'm going to write the first 13, 14, 15 scenes of this book, which they end up being around 1,500 words is how this ends up being per scene. What I'm going to send off to the copy editor proofreader is the first 10.
Okay.
Because when I tend to go back and make tweaks, it's usually just a couple of chapters back because I'll decide, I need to do this thing for this. I need to foreshadow a little bit to this thing. Oh, I've got this great idea of something I can do right here. I need to go back a couple of scenes and tweak something to make that work. Usually 2 or 3 chapters of space is enough for me to go ahead and do that. So if I send 10 chapters off or 10 scenes off, then I'll still have that padding that I want. I probably won't have to go back and make any real changes to that. And if you keep doing that every time you hit 10 scenes or whatever and send it off to the copy editor, then you'll be fine. You can just keep publishing, keep going. It's always in the serial. It's about what happens next, what happens next, what happens next. You've got to be buried in the moment. You can't be trying to look at the big picture. You've got to be down in the weeds all the damn time.
Well, that's why I think this next arc would be perfect for a serial. Derelict was a nightmare because I had to put the way the puzzle pieces had to be put together. Because it is a gigantic puzzle. Oh my God. It's 500,000 words of puzzle?
A lot of puzzle.
Oh my God.
Whatever you say, Brandon Sanderson.
Fuck me, that's big. Anyway, Derelict was a huge puzzle because I had to figure out how the AIs did what they did, why they did what they did, and how it affects everything else along the way, and then how the society. But the last Trident was a nightmare because they had to put everything together and try and make it work for the reader. That was tough. I'm hoping I never have to do it that way again.
We had this world building discussion where we were talking about all the things that I don't know in this Lit RPG world that I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I decided I have to start writing it to figure it out because I can't. I can't figure anything out unless I'm in the story.
And that's another reason why writing the next arc of Soul and Beyond would be so easy to start out with, because the universe already exists. And I already have, although there's going to be some technology changes, which will be fun. But I now have everything set up. I have an enemy or enemies. I have threats. Let's put it that way. I have human society undergoing a split of sorts. I have a tenuous economy. I have a vast opportunity for pirates and all sorts of other shit, not to mention exosolar visitors and everything else. I mean, there's just so much stuff that could go there. And I've already got all the backstory. The backstory is already set. Derelict was the backstory. So I think the next arc of Soul and Beyond wouldn't be too hard. The only question was whether or not I put any of it on Earth.
Screw it. Don't.
It would be very interesting. Anyway, so that's
write
why
your story. Write your story for Patreon, because they can get the early drafts of what you're doing. But the challenge for you in a serial is that it has to be linear. You're not going to be able to just jump around where you need to jump around. You're going to have to be, you literally will have to be stuck in the weeds. You've got to be stuck in the weeds, man.
Fuck linear. What the hell's wrong with you? I think the big difference is going to be struggling to not include too much detail without actually emasculating the detail, if you know what I mean. Because if you have a very, very finite space, like 1,500 words an episode, for instance, if you're trying to give backstory on something, you have to be very careful on how you're doing it, or that's going to be it's going to be 2 episodes just doing that.
Well, I have the benefit of being one of those people that don't provide a lot of description. So
I don't either.
That helps me.
But you understand what I mean, right? I mean, it's going to be, there are certain things where maybe you want to go on for 3 paragraphs about, a particular doodad or whatnot, because you're trying to plant it in their head. There's, hey, dummy, this is important. Pay attention. We're going to come back to this.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Planting those flags. No, it's not. It's just a matter of depending on how long the scenes and everything are going to be, you kind of may have to temper that a little bit.
I went back to the first scene that I wrote and added about 300, 400 words because I needed to increase the level of detail about what kind of game patch was coming.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
So it was one of those things where that's important. It's important that I state what he expects, the main character expects to see in this patch. And I even included details that somebody that is not a computer person will not understand. Because this guy is a system administrator, and sometimes you've got to include things in a way that they can understand it by name, but somebody that actually knows it will know exactly what you're talking about.
So-and-so's badonkadonk no longer catches fire if you shoot an arrow into them.
This was in a scene that I discarded. That I wrote it from the bad guy's point of view.
Okay.
He went back to his office because the main character demanded a copy of the patch so that he could look over it. So he's going to send a copy of the patch. The bad guy was saying to himself how he went about making a patch that was tweaked to be the exact size of the bad patch he intended to use. So visually on the screen, the files would look identical. He said that could be overcome if someone did a checksum on those files. And that's the part where I included something that a computer person would know that a regular person would not. So I included a detail and then explained a little bit, just enough to where they would know, okay, this is something that could happen here.
Right.
But I'm not going to use that scene because I intended to originally write a couple of paragraphs of the bad guy twirling his mustache, and it ended up being 1,600 words. And I'm like, no, that's not where I want to go.
1,600 words of the villain dialoguing with himself.
Pretty much.
Oh,
of him doing things and twisting his own mustache.
Oh, come on.
That was bad, but it was good in my own brain.
Good, but it's not something you want to have in your book.
It's not something you want to have in the book, but it's something that I needed. I needed to know what the bad guy was doing, even though the readers aren't going to need to know all of those things.
There was an exercise we did in theater, which was we had to basically write a biography of whatever character it was that we were playing, or whatever book we were studying at the time. And I worked with Dysart from Equus, and I wrote my diary, my actor's diary, as if I were Dysart. And so I was writing down all the different things, and it was really funny because my acting prof at the end of it said that I hope that one day Paul becomes as good an actor as he is a study of character.
And you have.
And it was just so much fun because you are literally putting yourself in that other person's point of view. And that's why first person can be so much fun. The Fiend's Tales, I really got into those because I could channel the crazy, just let it just rip off the page, because it's all it's all coming out of the brain. It's all warped perception, purposely channeled into that, because that is what it's supposed to give you. It's supposed to give you that kind of feeling and abrasion and everything else that goes along with it. I got excited, didn't I?
You did get excited. There's nothing wrong with that. I was thinking about the scene that I replaced the bad guy scene with, that I wrote yesterday. The first scene was him being interrupted in his office, something Paul can certainly appreciate. He's busy working on his computer in his office, and the bad guy comes in and monologues him and tells him he's got to do this work. And so he's like all grumpy because the bad guy not only opened the door that said "Do not disturb."
Not only that, but he gave him some stupid work to do too.
Stupid work to do.
High priority work. This is the highest priority.
The main character in this behaved like Paul, pretty much. Grump, 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 grump. Is how I anticipate.
If he hasn't broken a keyboard, he's not me.
He didn't have a chance in that first scene to break a keyboard, so he may not be yet, but he's grumpy enough to where he will have broken a keyboard at some point in the past.
There is nothing more satisfying than your boss pissing you off so bad and you just not giving a fuck that you pick up your keyboard and slam it down on the desk, not just hard enough to crack it in half, but also to send all the keys flying across all the cubes in the entire computer center.
I can see it now. You look outside the cubicle and there's the vice president. Hey, Paul.
Like
with his coffee cup right there. Hey, Paul. How's it going?
Chuckle. After that happened, Chuckles just looked. He was just kind of like, he kind of like moved over, went under his desk, got a fresh keyboard, put it on my desk, and then he went back to his computer. It's so fucking funny.
Makes you wonder, why does he have a spare keyboard under his desk?
And like 3 of them. Oh God, I've had such great times in offices. Anyway, yeah, that happened. That was a thing.
In any case, the thing that excites me about writing these kind of stories is the unexpected turns that you don't know ahead of time that you're going to take. In the first scene, I had a one-liner, basically a one-paragraph throw-off about he needed to go out and get dinner, and this was the night he usually went out to get dinner, at least with his girlfriend, before she dumped him 3 months ago. So that kind of thing. I figured that's a whole IT thing. You could be grumpy about the thing there. And I have him in the next scene that I'm actually writing walk out, and I decide, oh, his ex-girlfriend, she works at the company, and there she is coming out of the elevator wanting to talk to him.
Perfect.
Exactly what he said. Perfect. That's exactly what he said. Those were his words. This is just perfect.
Perfect fucking morning.
But I went ahead and wrote the scene where she says, we need to talk. And he's like, no, actually, we don't need to talk because we're not actually a couple, so we don't need to talk. No, we need to talk privately. It's very important. You're going to go out and eat. Let me go ahead and let you can go here and I'll buy everything, whatever you want to eat, but I need to talk to you privately. So I said, oh, I get to introduce. I decided to use her as a conduit to introduce something. I actually decided to use her for a lot more than a conduit.
I'm going to not bring attention to the way that was phrased. By bringing attention to the way it was phrased.
Bringing attention to how it was phrased. In this particular case, I decided she worked for the bad guy. She works in his department.
Okay, but she's not with the bad guy.
She's not with the bad guy. In fact, she's going to talk to in the next scene I write, she's going to talk to the main character about how weird the bad guy is behaving and how she thinks something is up. And she's heard his name, the main character's name, dropped a couple of times, and that she's worried that something is going on that may be bad for him. She may have dumped him, but
she still loves him, still likes him.
She still likes him, at least.
He's an asshole.
I haven't decided what the reason for the breakup was. All I decided was she was the one that did the dropping.
It's Pokemon Go. It's Pokemon Go.
Is that what this is?
Broken up so many relationships.
Is that what this is?
Sure, why not?
Why not?
It could be something as stupid as that. These are IT people, after all.
Yeah. Here's one of the things. This is a major spoiler for what I intend to do if I actually carry through with it. So, fair warning to anybody that might be paying attention to this serial. This is something that I think you, Paul, will appreciate.
Go ahead.
I've decided that she is going to be logged in to the game when all of this goes down, and the goddess of death is going to decide. She's the one that's going to interface with the character.
Right. The one. Okay. Yeah. One.
She's a good. In this case, the goddess of death is a good person. Is on the good side. So she's going to be the champion of the main character, the goddess of death, and she's going to tell the main character that she's decided that he needs, because he doesn't know very much about these type of games, that he is going to need a guide. And so what that in a game is mainly where you bring in an NPC.
Oh no.
The goddess of death is going to bring in his ex-girlfriend and make her the
I saw it coming. I saw it coming. You're an ass. You're a complete ass.
Serious ass.
You're a complete ass.
So fun.
The only thing worse than that is you have him talking about what an asshole this one dude was at OTS he was with or whatever else, and then suddenly that's the person he gets paired with or the person he ends up reporting to. Yeah.
But I decided I was going to do that yesterday, and I am just so excited about writing those scenes already. I'm just so hyped about it.
It's so bad.
That's what's going to make a gripping story, is when you're just such a douchebag like that.
Infinite douchiness.
Each genre has its own level of infinite douchiness. You kill everybody and maim the ones that manage to survive. I just put them in awkward situations.
Hey, I like putting them in awkward situations too. That is part of the fun is watching, especially people who know one another really well and know each other's foibles, because then it's that much more apparent. And when you put somebody new in that group, they're walking around going, "Why is this normal? How has this been normalized?" And nobody else even notices it's going on. But you put one of the straights in there, they have no clue what's going on.
Oh,
they're
my
lost.
God.
That did it again.
Oh my God.
All right, we just gave Terry a braingasm.
The main character is a level 1 god.
Yeah.
Basically, he's just a god. The goddess of death is going to tell him that you require worshipers. And I'm going to go ahead and make the ex-girlfriend a cleric, and the goddess of death is going to change her god of choice to him.
Yikes.
That's not going to be at all awkward.
Oh, my yikes. So his main apostle is his ex-girlfriend.
Yes. Yes. His main, like the pope of his religion, is his ex-girlfriend. This can't possibly go wrong.
That's gonna go great. Hey, just remember, I've seen you naked.
I can see it now. New worshipers, we get to see the God naked, and the priest is like, no, no,
No,
no,
no, no, no,
no,
no.
no, 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 no. This is not anything you want to see. Just move along, move along.
I was cursed. I had to look at it. I mean, privileged.
Oh boy, the awkwardness that this. I love that idea.
Yeah, so do I. I like that. I like that a lot. People who work together, it's always goofy how, especially in the politics of idiocy, which is corporations. On one project, you can be out to slit another guy's throat, or your boss is, and their boss is out to slit your throat. And then the next project, 2 years later, the two of you are working together as one and two of the project. And it's like you have to put all that shit behind you and just kind of go forth, because it's basically we were both caught in the whatever king we were serving at the time. And that meant we had to be adversaries when in fact we weren't adversaries ever. It's just people using other people as pawns, and thereby creating all this fucking drama, because that's what they fucking love to do, because they can't think of any fucking thing better to do, like work. I'm bitter, cynical, and pissed off. Can you tell? Anyway,
maybe you should be writing this particular story.
When you get the people together like that, though, you have those camps, especially you're talking IT. You've got the camps where you've got the system admins, you've got marketing, you've got the execs who are almost as bad as marketing. In fact, they enable marketing. Then you got sales. Well, not even going to talk about those psychopaths. And then you've got the actual nerds that are coding this stuff. And then when you get to them, that breaks down into several categories, because you got the UI folks, you got the middleware folks, and you got the back end folks. Then you got the folks who get really down, dirty, nasty with the code, and you got the other bozos who are just writing shell scripts. I mean, it's just such a massive mountain of skills.
I'm not going to delve into that. All I've said is the bad guy is the lead game designer, and the ex-girlfriend works in the department game design. I'm not going to get any more specific than that.
And you don't need to. My point is that the personality types that come out of all those different areas are very radically different in so many ways, as opposed to how they think about things, how they see things, how things work.
Mm-hmm. The main character is going to be obsessing about the minutiae of how this world has changed. Minutia, whatever. I've seen it in writing. What do I care? I've seen it in print. But,
okay. Terry's word of the day.
Terry's word of the day. He's going to be focused on the elements of the world that are important to him, whereas the ex-girlfriend is going to be freaking out at the major changes to the world as a whole and the playability thereof, and how it's going to affect them. Because I've already got this visual. A lot of these games, you've got these morons with these huge weapons that go out and bash things because, that's what happens.
Right.
In the new game world, that's not going to work anymore. So you're going to have these characters with these ridiculous weapons, or out there shouting these ridiculous passphrases that are supposed to trigger some big effect that aren't going to actually work anymore. And then they're going to get their asses kicked.
That's when your entire crew of 23 people go after a dragon and nothing works. Your spells, your arms, you go to swing, your sword falls apart. Yeah, it's kind of a problem. You go to swing your sword and suddenly you're naked.
Well, it's not that. I had this visual of the fact that now actual technique of how things work is important in this world now. Whereas before it wasn't. So you've got some bozo swinging his giant axe.
Hack and slash is no longer allowed. You got to dodge,
no longer
parry.
Allowed. You actually have to know how to use an axe. So somebody with a little bit of skill can fillet somebody without it. And somebody without that skill is going to be monster food.
Gotcha.
And now that means that probably 90% of game players are going to die in grisly ways up front until they start picking up the skills.
They're just going to be meat.
They're going to be meat. And all of the skills, all of the techniques, all of the things that they have developed become worthless overnight.
Okay,
And
so
boy, are they going to
skills.
be mad.
So skills, everything else reflects stock market. Got it. 1929. Got it.
Skills reflect stock market?
The crash of 29, where all your items are now worthless.
I was thinking, well, skills are a totally different issue.
Well, okay, fine.
See, when you said skills, I was thinking, I thought about that as well. I thought about that. Now you actually, you have
could
to
take
work on
everybody
that.
down to one.
You got to work on that woodcrafting skill now.
That's what I'm saying. You could take everybody down to 1 on everything.
I already intended to do that.
Okay, well then nobody has dexterity, nobody has strength, nobody has shit. They're back to where they were when they started.
Pretty much that's what I intended to do, but they're going to have these redonkulous weapons that are absolutely useless, even for a first level character, because they just don't work with real world physics.
You mean I can no longer have my Vorpal mace or whatever the fuck it is that flies around and does plasma damage to everything?
What happened to Johnny the Fighter? Oh, he jumped off the wall to fight the ogre, but he broke both of his legs and is now laying there because
because in this universe, his legs aren't made of rubber. There's fall damage.
Now that shit hurts.
Because God said, "Let there be fall damage," just like God said, "Let there be friendly fire." That's another one you could use. That's another one you can really use is friendly fire.
Don't worry, boys. I've got a fire spell. No.
Well, that's taking a little more literal than I was thinking. I guess you don't know what friendly fire is.
I know what friendly fire was. I'm in the army.
Do you know what it is in the game?
Oh, what do you think it means in the game?
It's the same thing.
Then I know what it means.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what implementation of friendly fire you're talking about.
All right. When you are allies in an MMORPG or a game like Siege or whatever else, you can hurt your allies by mistake or on purpose purpose.
Bastards.
But if they don't know that can be done now, somebody may be joking around, throw a sword at somebody, might actually split them in half as opposed to it just bouncing off them.
Healers are going to be real busy.
Yeah, if their healing spells don't backfire.
Well, there's a difference between player characters and non-player characters in this.
Okay, all right. So the NPCs haven't been taken down.
The NPCs will still have their various levels. Their style of gameplay will have changed from being cinematic to more realistic. That's how I envision this going. This is like taking, oh God, what is that damn? I'm trying to think of the name of the cartoon. It's like just about any kind of cartoon you can think about where you've got these superheroic type players or characters that can almost fly and do these horrific things or do these very powerful things. And that world is not going to exist anymore. So all the NPCs that might have had those powers are going to be rewritten. They're still going to have their levels, but they're going to be more realistic as opposed to cinematic.
Okay.
And obviously the player characters are going to be less cinematic as well, but they're going to lose their levels in a conjunction with that. So they'll be able to go to NPC healers and get a little help.
I just think it'd be so freaking hilarious with a player character cleric. Healing spell back.
I'm thinking Dragon Ball Z is what I'm thinking here.
Oh, okay. I got you.
That's what I was trying to think of what the name of the cartoon was. You're changed from that to Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You're changing from Dragon Ball Z to Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, anime to Lord of the Rings. Got it.
That's what I have in mind in general, is changing it from anime to Lord of the Rings.
Excuse me. See, now friendly fire is a big deal because, well, all your buddies that were no longer affected by your blasts are now affected by
everything.
And everything. You got a lot of opportunities for some screwy shit there, especially if the patches keep coming.
The patches will never come again. The patches will never come
that's
again.
Right. Everything's frozen.
Whatever stirring the pot I end up doing, I'm going to have to live with. Now, maybe I can write something later on where he could try to do some kind of internal patch.
And have it go drastically awry.
That's typically how that sort of thing would work.
Yeah, how that works.
One of the things that I have decided is that the NPCs are going to be severely upgraded in their responses. instead of being, I'm going to go to this guy for a quest. Hello, wanderer. Welcome to your quest. Now it's actually going to behave like a person. So if you're a douchebag player to the NPCs, you're going to have to deal with the consequences.
With a douchebag NPC, right? Yeah, as it should be.
It'll be
as
fun.
It should be. Yeah. Yeah, I like the idea of it.
I have absolutely no idea where this is going, and that makes me happy. I'm like a dog going, squirrel.
I got done with Derelict, and I sat there and I thought for a minute, and I was like, I want to know what happens next. Isn't that usually supposed to be the good idea or the good thing when you get to that point and you're like, I want to know what happens next? Isn't that what you're supposed to happen? You're supposed to do it? We'll have to talk off air. But
we'll talk after the show.
Yeah, we'll talk after the show. We have the serious conversation after the show. Anyway, I like all the little details and conundrums and everything else you got going on there, because you get a lot of opportunities to fuck shit up, and have shit fucked up and have a good time. I like it.
The way this works with the serial, you pretty much have to mess something up every damn episode. You've got to have some kind of conundrum still ongoing, because if you're boring, people might leave. You can't. You don't want to end everything on a cliffhanger, a dire situation, but there can always be a problem of some kind that's ongoing, and it's going to be different for every scene, likely.
If you look at a game, if you look at an RPG game, MMORPG or whatever, that's actually got a story. It's got a tree. Basically, from the beginning of the game to the end of the game is a straight line. Okay, it really is. Now, what the fuckers do is all the side quests that you have to do to get to the end there, because sometimes you have to go through the side quests just to get back on the branch, and that's by design. And then there are side quests that can take you hailing on away from the goal, and that in a way are their own goal for the story, that they are much larger than they appear. So you have the opportunity to have these little side quests that look like they're nothing that turn into something huge, and can really affect the end of the game. If you're looking at this as an ever-evolving story, then you have the same kind of thing going on. What is his ultimate goal? His ultimate goal is something that may not even be possible. But what's his ultimate goal in the game?
I've decided that rather than leaving the bad guy outside the game, I'm going to have the bad guy inside the game. And so it's a race to accumulate all of the necessary pieces of power, because if the bad guy gets them first, he gets to rewrite everything.
Okay.
Basically, the end goal is the encryption key to the encryption that the game is in.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm excited to see how you pull this off.
I decided it would be a lot funner to have the bad guy in game continuing to be a threat.
Funner is not a word.
Funner is a word.
More fun. God. Texas hillbilly. Where y'all from? Did they actually teach grammar, or did you just stumble into it?
You all don't need to know none of that there grammar.
Okay, so we got minutiae, minutiae.
That's the little things.
I'm gonna tell Charlie Brown that you call minutiae minutiae. Let's see how that works. Is that a French spelling, Charlie? Help us out here. Is that coon ass? Come on, tell us. I'm curious. Minutiae. It sounds like a place in Louisiana, doesn't it? It sounds like a parish. Minutiae.
I'd go there.
Oh.
No, but you talking about wanting to do the serial for yours, you need to find your own comfort level with the process, and you need to find the continual chaos that you can fall in love with. because that's where success lies in writing a
Well,
series.
yeah, I mean, but the chaos is pretty easy. All you could do, I mean, chaos on a space station, shocking. I'm shocked.
No, that's not where the chaos is. The chaos is the fact that something needs to be going on in every single episode.
Exactly. And I'm saying that on a space station, something's going to be happening every single episode. Because there's not just stuff going on the space station, there's stuff going off the space station. But yeah, all the stuff that's combined there. But like I was saying, you've got, in my situation, you've got a complete upheaval. I mean, humanity is completely thrown into chaos. And so everything is just a mess. It's perfect place for set stories, right? When everything's on the brink of collapse. Perfect place to start a story.
One of the things that I decided I'm going to really screw with the game with is a lot of the video games use, I guess you'd call them internalized powers. Basically, you can throw damaging energy out of your hands, or you can cast healing from your hands or whatever, but it's not a spell. It's not something that's...
It's an ability.
It's an ability as opposed to an actual spell. And I'm going to eliminate all of the abilities, and they'll have to learn spells.
No free rides, no free lunches.
No free rides anymore. You don't know that spell? That's tough. You're going to have to go find it somewhere.
That's kind of an asshole thing to do.
It is. There's a lot of asshole things that I'm going to be doing in this game, and a good chunk of it is because I'm a tabletop RPGer rather than a video game RPGer, and so I know a lot more about tabletop role playing and the whole spells, skills, abilities that go with that sort of role play. So I'm going to morph the game from what people normally expect into something that I actually have a fair chunk of knowledge about.
Well, you have plenty of RPGs, video games, where you have to find spells, you have to get the components for them, you have to, and I mean, Ultima was really a pain in the ass because you had to constantly find the spells, you had to get all the components for them, and there were some monsters you had to slay just to get those components for that spell you desperately needed.
Can you imagine how angry the players that are trapped there are going to be with this guy if they ever figure out
spent so much money on this fucking game?
If he is somehow attached to this, how angry that there would be like a mob hunting this guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Where's my pitchfork?
Pretty much. It would be just like if Rocket League or Rainbow Six Siege or whomever said, "Oh, okay, well, remember all that money you spent on uniforms and accessories for your cars or your player or whatever else? Yeah, those are all gone now. I spent how much money to get all this shit, and now it's all gone."
Let me run something past you. Time-wise here. I decided to have this patch rollout to happen Saturday night late.
Okay.
Because I figured I would catch the most people still online at those times. We're talking global.
Okay.
I'm thinking that, 9 p.m. is a great time to catch the U.S., but it's still also early enough on a Sunday that you can catch people on the other side of the planet.
EST, CST, what? 9 p.m. what?
EST.
So West Coast is 6 o'clock. Europe is going to be waking up. Australia will be the next day about the same time. Same thing in Asia. Yeah.
Basically, I'm looking to maximize the online number of people to trap in the game.
Depends on where the most people are to play the game.
That's it. That's what I'm really trying to figure out. With a global phenomenon.
Yeah.
How do you figure out what the best time to roll this is? Because I still go back and forth in my head of when I should be actually executing this. The bad guy wants to have as many potential slaves in the game as he can.
Then what the bad guy should do is have have the system admin do before all this shit goes down is have a special event in game.
Ooh, that's a good idea. Thank you.
So in other words, log in and you get the special dealy doodad. and then you get locked in.
Ooh. Ooh. I like that idea.
Something to consider.
See, that's one of the places where me not actually being involved with actual role playing
Right.
on video
Right.
games, I had no idea about something like that.
Yeah, so what Rocket League, Fortnite, Rainbow Six, all these games do, especially for those of us who stopped playing for a while, is they send us an email going, hey, you haven't been on in a while. Here's 500 free credits to go buy some new doodad to put on your dude or your car or whatever else to get you back in the game. And they'll hold these special strange match games with odd rules or maps or whatever to get you to come back and play because there'll be some new take on the game and can be fun and stupid. Like in Rainbow Six Siege, every Easter now, God, these fuckers, I can't remember what they call it now, but basically instead of it being a hostage, you're supposed to save Mr. Bear. And it's this humongous teddy bear that our person in a teddy bear suit, and the defenders who normally have a hostage are trying to protect Mr. Bear from the attackers. Who the attackers are trying to save Mr. Bear from the people who are holding him hostage. So everybody's got a goal that's not quite in fitting with what they're actually doing, and everything is different from everybody's perspective. But what's hilarious about this is all the characters become the old G.I. Joe guys. Remember the old G.I. Joe plastic figures? They all come like that. So they're all dressed in these weird, funky deals, and then all the walls have these wallflower wallpaper on them, and you can shoot them, and they scream when you shoot them. It's stuff like that.
I think what I could do is say that anybody that's logged in at time X.
That was the other thing I was going to tell you is if you rolled it to where the special event happens in their time zone and just keeps rolling, so you have to be on at that time in your time zone, and then you get locked.
No, this needs to be an instantaneous thing.
Okay.
This is going to trap them. If word starts getting out that everybody in Tokyo that's playing the game has fallen into a comatose state and can't log out, that's bad.
How would anybody know? They're all logged into the game.
Well, not everybody plays. Word's going to get out. That's why it needs to be a simultaneous event, no matter where you are.
Right. That's what I thought too. But
if I set this so the special thing going on is if you're logged in at time X, you will be the only people that can get into this new quest line.
See, that works too. Unless you want to pay blah, blah, blah money.
Mm-hmm. Unless you want to pay XXX, lots of cash.
Yeah.
You can log in when the clock rolls over to this. Everyone logged in gets access to the new quest line. If you're not, life's hard.
Right. Have you started watching Mythic Quest?
Mythic Quest. It sounds familiar. I'm sure you recommended it and I don't remember it.
It's at one of Apple's shows. It is, if you're writing RP, if you would love
that's
it.
Right. The one with in the game. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I do remember you telling me about it now.
Holy shit. Yeah, you need to, for an idea of the kind of crazy that goes on at Game Company, you should watch that because I think it's actually pretty spot on. Especially the poor playtesters. Oh my God.
Now I'm going to have to go back and rewrite the first portion of the first scene so that the main character can complain about the patch being rolled out while this other thing is going on with the maximum number of people.
Exactly. Okay, you want me to roll out this patch while we're having everybody on the world log in at once? This is stupid.
Well, he's already said this is stupid and you're dumb. He's already said that because I had it written with I picked time X because I said time X was when their maximum number of people logged in, and he used that as saying, you're stupid for doing this, and you're going to get fired if anything goes wrong.
I'm going to do this really stupid thing, and if you don't make it happen and make it work, you're fired.
Well, actually, the main character, the sysadmin, was thinking, go ahead. We'll roll this out. I'll make sure that management knows that this was your call, and when it all goes south, it's your ass in the grass.
Yeah, can I get that in email that you're ordering me to do this? Can you?
As an email.
I have the email. I protected it.
It's an email from the executive vice president ordering him to do it. The executive vice president, this was part of the scene that I cut. The executive vice president thinks he's going to be in the game as a god as well. the bad guy is going to poison his food before the time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. No other gods but him.
That's bad guy's kind of a dick.
He is definitely a dick.
I guess that's why he's a bad guy.
Yes, indeed.
I don't know, man. I don't know. A lot of brain death here. A lot of brain death.
I'm looking. I figured. I don't know how many people play Fortnite. But
oh my god! Not as many as used to, but at its peak, it was redonkulous.
What does redonkulous actually mean as far as numbers?
Let's see.
Because I in this here said we're going to have 1 billion people logged in. I have no idea how many people were, played Fortnite. So I don't know. Maybe I'm aiming low here. Maybe that's not that big.
12.3 million concurrent players.
Okay, 1 billion is a big number.
Yeah, 1 billion's big.
I've made the decision that this, I haven't said when it is, but it's obviously a little bit further future than we are now. And this is the world's most popular VR simulation that's been around for years.
Okay, but remember I said concurrent users. I didn't say total users, I said concurrent.
Okay, and how many total users do they have?
325 million worldwide, but only 51 million concurrent users or whatever the fuck it is.
Well, a special event could draw in that many.
Yes, it could. It could definitely draw that in. My point is that there's a big difference between number of people playing the game at the same time versus number of accounts.
There's going to be a lot of very angry people trapped in this game.
Yeah, and really, if there are that many players, even grabbing 10% is a huge number of people.
Well, I'm talking about making this. They're not going to see this in the game, but outside in the world, the whole goal is to trap so many people that the governments of the world would forbid shutting this game down because it would slay a significant portion of the world population.
Right. Well, if you got 10%, say out of 365 million people, that's 36.5 million assholes spread across the planet. That's a pretty big chunk. And they're all nerds.
So how many people do you think I should try to trap in this game?
I think you should definitely shoot for 100 million. And okay, I just made this worse. All right. Unbeknownst to Mr. Sysadmin, Mr. Evil, Dr. Evil, his real name, Dr. Evil, has also put in tracking. So he's grabbing the anonymized user stats and choosing those who are most likely to be necessary. So in other words, integrating with Facebook or some other fucking thing and see what their occupation is, what their age is, where they work, political ideologies, income, the whole 9 yards, and say, I want to make sure that I get that player in the game.
Why would he care?
Because that is another pressure point. If I got a bunch of 13-year-olds in the game, who gives a shit? If I've got a 27-year-old software engineer who's responsible for, I don't know, keeping this nuclear reactor online, that's a problem.
Well, that's a fungible sort of thing. After he's been locked in the game for a week, they'll move on from him.
My point is that if you're talking about trying to keep them from shutting the game down, it shouldn't just be quantity. It should also be try and make that spread out. Although I think the world would freak out if 135 million 10-year-olds got locked into a game. But I don't think you really want 10-year-olds in your story, that many of them. I think you want older folk.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing to think about. Is this an 18 and up only game?
Maybe not. Maybe it has restricted areas where kids can go that everybody else can't.
That's another thing for you to think about. Because
will the bad guy, if he doesn't want kids in this, he'll just exclude them from the lockout. That's
exactly what I'm saying, is based on those statistics and all the tracking and all the data gathering, he'd know which ones he wants to exclude.
Mm-hmm.
I want to exclude anybody who's under 15. Bang.
Maybe instead of 1 billion people, he should be targeting something like 200 million, 250 million.
It's still a fuck ton of people.
It's a fuck ton of people. But when you said that the one game you just mentioned, their total user base exceeded that.
Oh, yeah.
And the total number of concurrent online was 1/5 of that. So if I go 10, 20 years in the future, and this is like the craze that has swept the world type event, I could definitely bump that number up.
Okay, so World of Warcraft at its peak. Oh wait, no, it's not the peak. Never mind. Okay, at its peak, WoW had 12 million subscribers. And they had 600,000 people in a game at any one time. I'm surprised it's not more than that. I can't even think of what's a popular MMORPG right now.
I don't know.
I don't know
that's
either.
way out of my wheelhouse. I don't I haven't paid any attention to that.
Yeah, I don't live in that world, so I don't know. How many players does Grand Theft Auto 5 have? That's not that many. All right. Yeah, so they're running 200, 300,000 concurrent.
In any case, I'll bump that number down to something more reasonable, but try to get as many people of the right kinds trapped.
Yeah, I think you want to throw out anybody who's older than 60 and anybody who's younger than 15. Just saying. Although I think on the upper side, there probably won't be that many.
The bad guy would care about the upper side. The bad guy wouldn't care.
Younger side, it might, just because that'd be annoying.
Because they might not be useful, or maybe they would.
No, 13-year-olds can be pretty stupid. I don't think those are the kind of slaves you're looking for. I don't think these are slaves you're looking for.
Well, you see, the bad guy plans on having godlike powers when this all happens. So it's not like he would have to deal with the 13-year-olds. He'd have his other slaves deal with the 13-year-olds. So he really doesn't care.
Nobody wants.
He's that kind of douchebag.
Nobody wants to deal with 13-year-olds. Jesus, have you met them?
Sadly, yes.
I will not apologize to any 13-year-olds in the audience. I was once you. I know how crapulent you are.
Oh yeah, I can have that scene now. Have this character running around in the game going, the adult filter's off. The adult filter's off. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah, it's like back in the old days on 4chan. Hey, quick, the mods are asleep. all fucking hell will break loose. It's any chat room. Hey, the mods aren't here. Let's go crazy.
Where did Bobby go? Oh, he went to the whorehouse. I don't know what he thinks he's gonna do there. It's not like he knows what sex is, but there you are.
Well, he'll learn.
There, Bobby comes back.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. There's a scene in The Simpsons where Bart takes over comic book guy's store, and it's got a video section in there, and they're like going crazy with all the movies, and Ralph walks into the adult section. And the drapes close, and he goes in there and he goes, "Oh, everybody's hugging." One of my favorite moments of The Simpsons. Everybody's hugging. So yeah, you could have that in there. You could definitely have that in there.
I don't know that I want to, but I might.
Still, it's funny. All right, we should probably cut this nonsense off since we've been babbling incoherently for like over an hour now.
Definitely, this is a bit more, than the usual bouncing around in the episode.
I don't know. Just bouncing we did, but I don't know if we went up and down. I'm not really sure we moved anywhere at all, but still.
Is this like the airplane thing, The
Which
airplane movie?
Which part?
We're shimmying.
Oh, we're shaking. The movie is so bad. She's wearing the tank top or whatever the hell it was, a halter top with majority on it.
I actually don't remember. It's been too long.
Oh, the movie's so much brain damage. I've seen it so many times I can quote the entire scenes, no problem. Oh, it's so bad. Let's do a Hare Krishnas. The guy asked them for donation to their churches, so we gave it the office, and they walked by. It's just so goddamn funny. It's the 80s. It is so 80s. Every single part of that goddamn movie is 1980s. Oh, just wrapped up in a nutshell. Holy shit. Holy shit. Well, if you have a comment about whatever bullshit that we talked about today, and there was a lot of it, you can send an email to show@deadrobotsociety.com. You can tweet me at Paul_E_Cooley. You can join the listeners of the Dead Robots Society Facebook group, heralded by Terry Mixon. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/DRS podcast if you want to see our ugly mugs and so many damn cats. I think our wonderful host, pod hoster, makes all 14 bazillion episodes of the Dead Robot Society available for your ear holes. And if you'd like to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/GRS podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive content like crazy ass live shows, which are so much fun. And if you're at the $10 level, you get your name read. And our $10 patrons are Summer Wilson, Tony L. Joy, Andrew Smallwood, Veronica Jaguar, Rick Shaw, Chris Winder, and Isabel Cushy. Thank you very much to all of our patrons for supporting the show. Thank you very much.
We also need to have a call out since, we have been blessed.
Oh, yes. We have to thank our wonderful coffee roasters, Corpse Coffee. If you've never drank a corpse, wow, are you in for a good time? Coffee beans roasted by the deadest people imaginable. Roasted in a coffin, no less.
It's actually really good, so you should absolutely try it.
Yes, I've had the Abracadabra. I burned through that really fast, and now I'm on the Bone Rattler. So
wait a minute.
Good stuff.
How much coffee do you drink?
A lot. 3-4 cups a day.
He sent you a 12-ounce thing of beans, right?
I don't know how many beans were in there. Whatever it was, I'm on the second bag. And the point is, you'll really like this. So you should go check out Corpse Coffee. They have, it's a friend of the show, Dave Robeson, who came up with this because of a conversation he and I had Twitter. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's
this size bag. This size bag is what you had. That is, I think, a 12-ounce size bag. It's still full. How much coffee do you drink? Is where I'm going with this. I
go 4 cups a day. I use beans, and I grind them myself. What's the problem? I also like strong coffee. Leave me alone.
I believe the strong coffee may be something of an understatement.
The first thing Dave said was, I'm guessing you're a dark roast kind of guy. And he was right. Pretty goddamn funny. Anyway.
This is a medium roast. It's not a dark roast.
No, the Bone Rattler is the dark roast. So
do you prefer the Bone Rattler? Is that what you like?
I haven't decided which one is better, to be honest. They're both really, really good. I meant to do a taste test between the two, but I got greedy. I love the Abracadabra a lot. It was really good. It was really good. Bone Rattler is really good too, though. But you should go.
He was going to send me the already pre-ground stuff, but I instead got the beans. So I luckily already had a coffee grinder, and it's working out just fine for me.
Well, there you go. Where is it? Where is it? There we go.
But I can guarantee that this bag of coffee is probably going to last me 2 months, month and a half, something like that. Maybe a month.
You don't drink coffee. You drink muddy water.
I like my coffee, something that can be survived by normal human beings.
If my coffee isn't dissolving my fillings, it's not coffee. If you want to go help out Dave Robeson, take a look at what he's doing. They've got teas. They've got coffee. They've obviously got some swag. They've also got a weekly webcomic going on, which sometimes gets updated more than once a week because Dave's crazy and talented and all the other crazy things he is. So you should go up and visit corpsecoffee.com and go see what kind of mummified beans and grounds you can get, because there's nothing better than drinking the dead. There. Oh, that was like something I could say in a commercial. With that, we are out of here. So go get yourself some Corpse Coffee and get ready for Terry's cereal, whenever that is. Are you going to call it Rice Krispies?
Vella doesn't go live for a couple of months, so it's still got a ways to go.
Yeah, no shit. Do you have a name for this thing yet?
No.
That's what I figured.
Actually, no, that's not true. I do have a name for it. What did I call this? Look at the folder name. I decided to call it, this was after discussing it with you, I decided to call it Upstart Gods.
Ah, okay. That's right.
I was going to say I did decide on a name.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm sure we'll find out more crazy nonsense next week. So until then, have a good one.
Bye-bye, everybody.